everyone, it's Angela from the Tiny Healer channel, where I talk about mental health, self-development and lifestyle. Today's video is a story time, so I am going to share my experience with auditory hallucinations. Today's video is going to be broken down into 4 parts. The first part is the situation, what was going on at the time. The second part is about when the voice began and my experiences with that. And the third part is going to be when my circumstances changed and what happened there. And then the fourth part is what I wish I knew. So things I wish I'd known back then to kind of help me get through it and cope with it a little bit better. Okay, so I suppose my experiences kind of started in year 10 at high school. I was 15, 16, 17 years old, and I started feeling, a little bit unmotivated when it came to study. All I wanted to do was spend time with my friends and essentially rebel against my parents' strict rules, like most teenagers do. I also found myself in a relationship where I think I was way too immature for, and there was also stigma when it came to mental health in my social circle. I was also experiencing a lot of anxiety surrounding my soul, spreading the word of God. I had a lot of black and white thinking as well when it came to, I suppose, what's good and what's bad. And I had a lot of black and white thinking about the way other people live their lives. While, on the other side of that, I was also living an imperfect life, as humans do, and making mistakes along the way. So the voices began while I was at a youth camp. Often being part of the leadership team, there are time slots throughout the weekend where people would go into this one room and pray. My time came around 3 p.m. and for those of you who are superstitious, I think it's just so funny that it was 3 o'clock when everything kind of started going downhill, basically. So I was sitting in this room praying over the camp and our participants and all the youth members there, when all of a sudden I started hearing this whispering. And at first it was really quiet. I didn't think anything of it. As time went on, it started getting louder and louder and louder. The moment where I felt uneasy was when I realized I couldn't understand what this whispering was saying. I couldn't understand the words, I couldn't make out anything familiar, and that started to worry me a little bit. I really thought it was someone whispering or gossiping just outside the room, but it became really apparent that that was not what was going on. As the minutes passed, a really loud voice, so clear, said, "The devil is here." And you can imagine for a 16, 17-year-old how terrifying that would have been. And it was terrifying. I didn't really have too much time to react. I think my instinct was to just continue to pray and hope that it would just stop and it would go away. Somehow the time had passed and the 15 minutes was over, so another youth member would be coming into the room to continue prayer time. I told him, "You need to pray for protection because something's not right." And he looked at me so strange. He's like, what are you talking about? And I told him, just pray for protection. I left there and I ended up talking to one of the other youth members that I felt really close to. I felt really close with her. And, she was really supportive, telling me that, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. But as soon as she said that, the voice started saying things again, things like, it's not okay, you are not safe, and you will not be protected. And by then I was in tears. I was an absolute mess. So we went and saw one of the parents and we did more prayers, and I felt like nothing was working. I still felt incredibly vulnerable. I felt like I was being attacked. I felt really scared. Just, keeping it real. I was really, really scared. While I can't tell you how long this experience lasted, I can tell you what happened when my circumstances changed. So I redid year 12, which is senior year of high school, and during that year I was doing really well academically. I felt safe in my environment. I was becoming more independent, so I was driving more, and I think between this time or the following year I'd actually managed to finally get on my P's, and so I was feeling a lot more independent, a little bit more free. These changes in my circumstances made me feel so much lighter, and I think I had a moment where I said to myself, I don't hear voices anymore. And I think it was a moment of relief. It just felt amazing to feel free and to feel like I didn't have to live in fear anymore because of people's expectations or lack of support or anything like that, because I could do things on my own, and soon I would have more freedom than I've ever had before. So things I wish I knew if I were to ever go through this again, or if anyone out there is going through this. I was surrounded by one worldview where following the word of God was the only way to live life. I wish I knew that it was okay to look outside of that worldview. I wish I knew that feeling uncomfortable with people that I'm supposed to trust was a sign to seek support somewhere else. I wish I had seen a GP and told them about my experiences, to then get a mental health care plan and referral to see a psychologist or even a psychiatrist. I wish I knew that mental health was so important for our overall functioning and well-being. I mean, being a teenager, I thought I knew everything. Clearly, I did not. And I wish I didn't feel guilty for having different friendship groups. I think the previous groups that I was part of, it did feel quite cliquey. I would tell a youth friend or something that I'd hung out with these people and it was really fun, and they would kind of look at me like, why would you do that? Why would you spend time with them when we've got youth group on that night? I think if I'd had the support and guidance and knowledge of mental health and what stress can do to the mind, I probably would have coped a bit better through the experience I had. At the same time, this experience has really, I guess, opened my eyes to mental health, and I suppose it also started my journey in healing parts of myself that I didn't even know was broken. I think from religion I put on this safety blanket where I never have to look at this brokenness because I am, covered by God, by Jesus. In doing that, I looked away from the trauma that I had and pushed them down. So there's going to be a lot more story times to come. So I think this experience, terrifying, was my transition into adulthood to heal the brokenness and stop the cycle of neglect, of one way of thinking, and essentially be free. If you or someone you know is going through something like this or struggling with their mental health, I will be leaving some links down below, so please check those out, or speak to a trusted friend about what you're going through, because sometimes it is just that one listening ear that can change everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and remember to give it a like and to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.